I always call this the jump the shark moment, this Robert Lee versus Robert E. Lee, this reporter at ESPN who has taken himself out of covering a game this weekend, or next weekend, I should say, between the University of Virginia and William and Mary. I didn't even know William and Mary had a football team, but they do. Anyway, because his name is Robert Lee. Now, anyway, ESPN's president, John Skipper, defending the Robert Lee decision, and I quote, "Among our Charlotte production staff, there was a question as to whether in these divisive times, Robert's assignment might create a distraction or even worse, expose him to social hectoring and trolling." Speak for yourself, co-host on Fox Sports 1, Jason Whitlock, on if the sports world is getting a little bit too, I don't know, PC or crazy or both. Jason, what do you think?
Neil, listen, my initial reaction is like yours. I find this humorous and preposterous. But when you really think about it, there's something serious going on here that I've been trying to talk about and explain to people. The media, corporate media, totally afraid of social media, totally afraid of Twitter backlash, and making all kinds of decisions based on how is Twitter going to respond. And if you understand Twitter and how far left it is and how it's controlled by Silicon Valley and Northern California and San Francisco, the people on the far left extreme, that's what's driving the decision-making of so many media executives and so many members of the media and so many celebrities. Everything they're doing and is coming out of their mouth is like, well, how's this going to land on Twitter? And in order for things to land well on Twitter, you have to be way far left. And so,
but who would initiate this conversation? I mean, obviously, this guy has been named Robert Lee his entire life. And I can see this Charlottesville stuff came up, and then he sees all these statues coming down, and he might very well have said, you know, boss, I don't know if I go to this game at the University of Virginia.
He didn't do that.
Neil, it doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. So what do you think happened?
Neil, I worked at ESPN. I've worked with all these executives, including John Skipper, who I have a lot of respect for. They are so far left, and they are so far afraid of Twitter. They brought it up. They're sitting in a room, a few executives. Oh, my God. This guy's named Robert Lee. How's Twitter going to react?
But how would you know? But how would you know, Jason? I mean, when I hear commentary, I'm always amazed when the camera goes back and you guys, we see you guys, and I say, oh, these are the people that I'm hearing. But how would anyone otherwise know who's broadcasting the game?
They wouldn't know, but I'm telling you about the place where I work and the executives I work for and what drives their decision making. They live in a Twitter bubble.
But who's going to make a big deal of it? Who are they afraid?
No one would.
On Twitter, or someone's going to say, oh, my God, they have Robert Lee, no doubt a descendant of Robert E. Lee. If we can show the two together, they're not related at all. There's nothing tying them in outside of that name. But go ahead.
Neil, I get why you're incredulous and you can't believe this. But let me ask you this question. Have you not seen this dramatic shift in the media in terms of we're used to the media being liberal, but this far extreme liberalism, it's being driven by Silicon Valley. The media used to be controlled by New York and the traditional New York liberal. This liberal that's out of Silicon Valley and Northern California is extremist in a way we just haven't seen, and they're driving the media.
I can understand a little about it. I've been in this career a while like you, and I know that. And you can kind of live with that and work around. But this is crazy territory here, because now they're going so far as to preempt a broadcaster who has nothing to do with anything save the name. And what is next? That you're going to be so worried about a liberal outcry over what you're doing that you want everyone to be John Doe unless the Doe family is tied to a Confederate general?
1,000%. Neil, let's give you another example. Colin Kaepernick. John Skipper in his statement talked about concern that Robert Lee might be a distraction, so let's remove him from this job. That's the thinking. But again, when people say the NFL might be concerned that Colin Kaepernick is a distraction, everyone acts like that's preposterous. Everyone at ESPN acts like that's crazy, and the NFL ownership must be racist. They couldn't be worried that he's a distraction. Distractions are overrated. But look at ESPN.
Bad news for you, Jason Whitlock. There's apparently a Confederate general with your same exact name.